Now, before we continue, I just want to kind of organize what we've got here a bit. Let's just do quickly here. So I'm just going to drop some boxes on top, you know, just to tidy it up. Call this import. Here, this is the boots, right? Let's name this as well. Split body. I'll say boots. Delete here is the same, right? Body and boots. Or isolate body and boots, we'll say that. ISO body and boots. Maybe this we can put a box around. Oops, I don't want this in it. Oh, made a mess now. There we go. So this, just configuring the boots. You can give these some cool colors as well. Make sure to turn this solid conform back on. We do need that. Clip just for I don't know, what can we call it? Tet viz. And then let's put another group around this. Make it this. Whoop. Make it this color. Body. And then here we're doing the rest blend stuff. So grab that, another box around that, make it, I don't know, what color? This one, and call it rest blend. Always a good idea to try and keep as organized as possible. You know, for your own sake, for when you're coming back to your scenes. Because you're more than likely, you know, you'll do a lot of this work, you'll, you know, go on to do some other stuff, and then maybe you might forget how to do a lot of it, and you'll want to come back and look through this, and if you don't have anything, you know, you might find it difficult to know what's going on. But also you might be passing this scene on to other people or sharing scenes with other people, so it just, you know, saves a lot of time by doing a bit of organizing. Okay, so here I'll just do like drape import. Make that color. Drape imports there. Here we're doing constraints. Let's make the box this pink, red. Sets cons. Cool. So let's make sure, let's let that solid conform configure again, and then let's set up the, so right now we don't have any constraints on our on the cloth, okay, on the trousers or the on the top either, so we need to do that. Okay, so all of these have groups, so you know we don't have to worry about setting them in the wrong places. One thing I'm going to do here, which I forgot to do earlier, was on the stretch, just increase the dampening a little bit on the tetrahedral constraints. Okay, so the dampening is how quickly it wants to return to its original shape. Okay, so a higher number will mean it will return slower. So I found, you know, with this being very low, and that's also why I dropped in in the solver we've got a pop, what's it called? I can't remember. A pop drag, yeah. So I used, yeah, dropped in this pop drag on the Hunter body as well, because I found that it was quite springy and a bit like rubber. So I found that just raising this damping a little bit helped to reduce that. Okay. So got that there. This is the boots here. We should name these as well because they're, you know, they're all named the same. So let's put boots and then stitch. I did each boot separately. So right boot and left boot. Perfect. So another vellum configure cloth. Drop that in there. Okay, we turn that off. Get rid of that color palette. I press C to get that, by the way, if I didn't mention earlier. Or you can come up here as well. By the way, you can also, I can't remember, is that O or Z? Yeah, change the shape of the nodes if you like. Some people like to do that. Okay, I just leave them as they are. They're all, you know, I'm used to these shapes now, the default. So let's set this on the top. Okay, pretty much, yeah, the same as what we had before. So yeah, on the shirt, I want, we'll leave the mass and thickness to default. Just take a look at it's always a good idea just to check, to visualize the thickness, okay? Especially if you've got very coarse mesh, you know, like on the trousers there. Because if, you know, if any of these points are mostly on the inside of something, then you'll have penetration problems with that. So stretch, again, I want this to be very, I don't want it to be stretchy at all. So push that up to 10. Compression stiffness, again, push that up to the max. So again, these are the distance constraints. We've got two constraints coming here, okay? We've got distance along edges and bend constraints, actually. So the distance constraints will go from here to here and stop the constraint from, so this point going towards this point and vice versa and away, okay? And then the bend constraint will stop it kind of rotating around each other. And then for the bend, yeah, we want this to be pretty bendy. So 1e minus 7, so that's 1, well, 0.0, 7 zeros and then 1. And that should be good for the shirt. Not a shirt, the jacket. Top. And then vellum cloth for the trousers as well. Okay. We don't have any, yeah, collider here. Well, we do, but it's the, you know, we're bringing it in outside, so don't need to worry about connecting it up here. So for the trousers, let's grab the group. Where are we? Bottoms. There we go. Kind of handy. You can see, you know, make sure that you're not generating constraints where you don't want them. So again, with let's just take a look at the thickness. That's okay. You can change it if you want by using this. If you want them to be a bit thicker, if you're, you know, if you want them not to get close to the other surfaces, I'm just going to leave it at default. 25. Turn that off. Again, turn this up to 10. And this to the max as well here. And then I'm just going to change the bend stiffness will be a bit different. Just slightly less bendy. Well, the one thing is the constraints, but also the mesh. You know, I've got a coarser mesh than up here, so that will also make it less less bendy. Great. What else do we need to do? Oh, the weld. Well, weld points, which are not constraints, but kind of, you know, work in the same way. So just like before, you can see there they're all building our, not constraints, but treating them as one point. I think if we come here, we should see an attribute on the points called weld. Yeah, so they're weld -1, and then we get these numbers. So I think that's it's the number of the points that it's welded to, right? So 3850. Let's see if we can isolate one so we can understand this correctly. If I grab this point, so I think these are welded together, yeah. So if I grab this point, go to my geometry spreadsheet, go to show only selected. I've selected a whole bunch, so do that. And hopefully I should only have one selected. There we go. So, and then go to vellum, and then this. I don't know why it's selecting so many there. Is it selecting everything behind? Let's see what's going on. Ah, it's because I was up there, I think. There we are. I've just got the 2 there. So yeah, you can see that. So the attribute there is 31102, which is the other point, which is on they're on top of each other. So I'm selecting both of them. Okay. So that's the way that the weld works. So these will be treated as one point now, both of these. So you can, well, we will in fact be changing these. So if you change weld to 0, I think. Let's see, turn that off. Or if you turn them all to -1, then the weld is turned off, and they will come apart. That's how they break. Okay, so there's no actual constraints there holding them together. And then once we're through with the sim, so that the mesh, the normals look good on the mesh, we basically fuse them together, so they look good. Cool. I think that's it for now. Oh, one more thing actually I wanted to do, which we can do now, is the collar. So as we didn't see it in the drape, but the collar is just attached at the bottom in terms of the geometry. So I'm just going to do another vellum and give myself some space here. Let's do weld cuts, vellum, and I want to do stitch, I think, with this. Stitch points. Okay, so you can see that stitching everything to everything, which is no good for the moment. Okay, what I want to stitch, so I'm going to grab the top and stitch it to the collar. Okay, so there I'm stitching the collar, which was this group here. If you remember, we made that at the beginning. And it's obviously this is no good, so again we can limit the distance that it's looking for. Let's see, max distance, that's it. Okay, and then just push that up a little, do that to 0.01. Okay, so you might get some which may seem a bit weird, but that's okay. It'll help make it look a bit stiffer as well anyway, which the collar typically would be a bit stiffer. And as you can see now, they're all kind of connected to points, which is fine, but you could get some weird behavior with that. So what you can do is turn on this closest point on primitive, and you can see them move now, so they don't have to be connected to a point. They can just be on the primitive, and you'll get some. It'll give you nicer results. That cool. And then so stiffness there, get rid of that. Complaining for some reason. We can leave that as it is. Maybe we can try a flip book with this, see what we get. So let's go back in. We made a camera, yeah. Turn on this auto-dop network. We'll jump inside. Let me just go to frame 140, make sure we don't have anything weird happening straight away. So I've just got the one frame, and I'm just checking. Often if your attributes are kind of messed up, then you'll get some kind of explosion right away on the first frame. Okay, so it is taking a while there, so I'm just gonna do a few frames. So let's jump back into the camera, make this full screen. I'll start at 140 and just kind of let it go for a bit, but we don't need to see too much. I just want to see that everything's working generally correctly. All right, I've just stopped the sim there. Obviously, it didn't need to do the whole thing. It took me about 9 minutes, so it's not going too slow. 9 minutes for, what's that? About 30 frames, 140 to 170, yeah. So, it's working. Again, yeah, we're not, he's not staying in the mouth yet, but I just wanted to see that the clothes are staying on the body. In general, we don't seem to have any major intersection problems yet. we might do. Okay, but yeah, it's working so far.